Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is stage 20 of the Vuelta España 2023. Today's stage 208 kilometers long and 10 categorized climbs throughout today's stage. It's the last climb, though, you really want to pay attention to because that is the monster one that with about just under 17 kilometers to go, it's 4.5 kilometers long and it's 6.5%, but it's stair steps. It has narrow sections, cobblestones to begin with. Then you start having little flat sections. You go through the forest where it narrows out and the climb starts getting really difficult, and it'll summit with about 12 kilometers to go on today's stage. Then a crazy twisty narrow descent into a flat run-in with a 350 meter last left turn that'll stair step up just a little bit, not quite stair step, but a hard bump, and then a little summit there with a descent with about 75 meters to go on today's stage. Now, like I said, this is the last mountain stage here of the Vuelta España, so you know everybody wants to get in the break. When the action starts, it's going to start off right away with Pseudo Quickstep taking the front and controlling the peloton just a little bit till we see Intermarché throwing the first attack. That's covered by Tibieri, who throws in the next attack from Bahrain Victorious. Then we're going to see Marc Soler go up the road with Wout Poels and Remco Evenepoel. As those guys get pulled back, they're going to be in the next group that'll go over the top of this first KOM with 30-plus riders. In this group, you have 9 teams with multiple riders, and one team has 4. That team's called Pseudo Quickstep, and their race leader, Remco Evenepoel's in there, along with Vervaeke, their climber, James Knox, and Matteo Cattaneo, who I've been talking about for 3 weeks here at the Vuelta España because the Italian riders were riding fantastic. With those 4 riders in the group, and with 8 other teams with multiple numbers, this group of 30-plus riders is rotating through pretty good and solid throughout this stage 20 until we start getting further into the stage. When I look back at the peloton, it's Jumbo-Visma all over the front with 7 riders leading the front of this peloton that has Sepp in the race leader's red jersey. Why don't they have 8? Well, that's easy. Wilco Kelderman's in this front group of 31 riders, so that leaves you back there with only 6 riders riding for Sepp. Now up front, this group of 31, like I said, they were gelling well together, always rotating through. Nobody really missing a turn until we get into about 70 kilometers to go, and this is going to be the first attack. We'll see Marc Soler start the attack, and this is a good plan right here. You got to try to reduce the numbers from Pseudo Quickstep and hopefully get up the road without Remco Evenepoel. And at this moment, all the way from the beginning of the breakaway into 70 kilometers to go, Pseudo Quickstep's done just about the same amount of work as anybody else in this big group. So Marc Soler's attack, I'm behind 100% because you got to find out how eager Pseudo Quickstep want to work for Remco Evenepoel. With his attack, he'll get brought back, and then going over the top, we'll see Sanchez, Paleo Sanchez from Burgos BH going over the top of this KOM with Matteo Cattaneo on his wheel. Soler is going to pay a little bit of price for that first attack because you see him back there chasing with the group. And if you look at the back of this group, that's his teammate Finn Fisher-Black on the back. He can't help out Soler, but Soler will close up to the front group here of 2 riders as they go over the top. Pseudo Quickstep will drop down the top after 70 kilometers to go of this KOM, and we're going to see 4 Pseudo Quickstep riders on the front. James Knox is still there, Vervaeke's still there, and of course Matteo Cattaneo's riding way above his pay grade, which means Remco Evenepoel's got 3 teammates in front of him that are solid ability right here in this group. Now as they drop down the descent, we'll go into about 50 kilometers to go. This is when we see Finn Fisher-Black from UAE Team Emirates drop out of the group along with a bunch of other non-climbers. This is going to reduce this group size down to about 25 riders up front that's still being led by Pseudo Quickstep. We'll see at 37 kilometers to go, James Knox will get dropped out of the front group. Now we got 3 Pseudo Quickstep guys still driving this group. This is a perfect tactic right here if you're Pseudo Quickstep. This is the way you want to play it because the last and final climb here on stage 20 of the Vuelta España, like I said, it's a hard climb, it's stair steps, it's narrow, and it has cobblestones to start with, so it's ideal for Remco Evenepoel, who's won Liège, Bastogne-Liège earlier in the season in 3 stage victories here at the Vuelta España. Let's go back and look and see what's happened with the GC guys, because like I said, Jumbo-Visma were all over the front. They're riding Robert Hessing and Dylan Van Barley throughout all of this course, and they're giving time to the front breakaway riders as the minutes keep clicking up all the way into the last and final climb. We see the breakaway group has about 11 minutes on the group behind by Jumbo-Visma. Now up front, what's happening? Well, we're going to see when the last and final climb starts of the Vuelta a España. This is when we see that Vervaeke drops off the front group, so Matteo Cattaneo is the last rider left for Remco Evenepoel. They start the hard final climb here on stage 20, and we'll see the first attack come with 2.5 kilometers to go as Wout Poels is thrown in a huge attack, followed with Leonard van Eltveld from Lotto Destiny. Wow, where have you been, Leonard? You are riding on fine form right now because you're staying on the wheel there. Wout Poels, who put on a devastating display on stage 17, going up the angle where he dropped everybody down in the front group and flew up that climb to help Lander try to move up on the general classification. Well, now Wout Poels is doing a fine job. Leonard van Eltveld's holding on to his wheel from Lotto Destiny, but Remco Evenepoel, what's happening? Guys, Remco Evenepoel can't follow the first attack. He's staying on the wheel right there of Cattaneo. His team is. Cattaneo's going to do everything he can, but up front, Soler's going to drop Sanchez and start bridging across to the two riders in front to make three riders here on stage 20 on the last and final summit climb of the Vuelta a España. Behind, we're getting into 1 kilometer to go. It's time for Remco Evenepoel to go to work. He throws in attack. He's got Sanchez on his wheel from Burgos BH, and you know the race radios are just chiming big time, telling the guys up front that Remco Evenepoel's coming across, because we'll see Wout Poels look backwards after the pulling there from the Lotto Destiny rider pulls off to the left. Wout Poels throws in a huge attack with just under 400 meters to go on this last and final climb of the Vuelta a España. Behind, Leonard, he's suffering big time from Lotto Destiny, trying to hold on. Soler's doing the same thing, and Sanchez is closing up the gap. Remco Evenepoel still about 5, 8, 10 seconds back of the group of 4 in front as he's trying to close up, and everyone else behind is getting gapped. Now they'll go over the top of the KOM. We got 4 riders in front being followed there by Remco Evenepoel about 6 seconds behind over the top last KOM here, the Vuelta a España, as they're dropping down the descent. What's happening in the GC group as these guys have finished the last and final climb up front? Well, the battle started to begin in the GC group from Movistar. They started the first acceleration. Landa's right there, and he starts his own attack after the attack of Moss. And as Landa's going, look there of Primoz Roglic. Primoz Roglic is like, nah, I got this under control from my man Sepp wearing the race leader's red jersey here at the Vuelta a España as we're going 100% all in for Sepp, the American, to win this year's Vuelta a España. With Primoz Roglic on the front, nobody can throw an attack. We'll see Primoz Roglic, Jonas Vingegaard, and Sepp setting some pace early into this final climb of the Vuelta a España. Now they start getting up a little bit further, and destruction starts happening all over the place as we see behind Almeida's trying to close the gap up to the front group here. But Jumbo-Visma got everything under control as they're going up over the climb. Now we'll go back up to the front group as they drop down the descent. Remco Evenepoel, like I said, he was still a little bit off the back of the group, but they got about a 10-minute, 11-minute gap on the GC favorites, so they're way in the front as they're dropping down the descent with about 10 kilometers to go. Remco Evenepoel's catching the group of 4 up front. He's going to fly straight by all of them, and he starts diving through the corners here, and he gets a gap on all 4 riders behind him as we see Sanchez, Burgos BH is dangling off the back, not able to go through the corners quite like the Belgian rider up front does. As they come out off the final and last descent here on stage 20, it's 5 guys all together as they're coming into 4 kilometers to go. Let me point something out. Remco Evenepoel's always doing just a little bit too long of a pull there for Sanchez from Burgos BH. If I show you some of the videos, the other riders are pulling off. Look how they pull off like right in front of the wheel in front of them. One rider pulls off to the right. The next rider pulls off just to the wheel in front. But every time Remco Evenepoel pulls off in front of Sanchez, he's leaving like 3-4 bike lengths gap there. So Sanchez is struggling at kilometer 4 to go, at kilometer 3 to go, and just under 2 to go. We see Sanchez sprinting to get to the back of the group of 4 in front of him because Remco Evenepoel is just making him suffer from Burgos BH. They're getting ready to go under 1 kilometer to go. We'll see up front, Wout Poels from Bahrain Victorious. He'll rotate off the front and he'll go to the back of this group of 5. Now we're coming into about 500 meters. We'll see up front that Remco Evenepoel's sitting third wheel. He's got Burgos BH just to the right side of him, slightly in front of him. That's Sanchez. And we're going to see that Remco Evenepoel is going to wipe his nose and then wipe his pants on his bib shorts there. He's going to look back over his shoulder, and when he looks forward, already starting his attack, that's Wout Poels back there from Bahrain Victorious. He's coming flying up the left side because he knows with just about 350 meters to go is the last and final left turn here of today's stage 20, so he wants a little bit of a head start. We see that as he passes by Soler, then he comes up to Remco Evenepoel flying by him with some speed now. Remco Evenepoel's a little bit behind, about about 1 bike length, 2 bike lengths behind as we go into the final left turn here on stage 20. Wout Poels is leading, and we see Remco Evenepoel's in second place. Sanchez is coming out of this left turn in third, trying to follow the wheel of Remco Evenepoel. Up front, Wout Poels is looking under his arm, seeing what kind of gap he's got, and he knows he's got about 4 bike lengths on Remco Evenepoel as it's the last and final pitch here on stage 20. He accelerates as hard as he can, goes to the left. Remco Evenepoel's digging hard, trying to bring back the gap that he let extend out, and I'll explain to you why later. But as Remco Evenepoel's trying to bring the gap back, we're going to hit the little summit with about 175 meters to go. Remco Evenepoel still about a bike length behind there of Wout Poels. Wout Poels digs deep. He's throwing everything he can into the pedals as he's trying to win this last and final stage 20 option for the breakaway specialist. As he's leading into about 75 meters to go, Remco Evenepoel with the speed of the dip coming down into the finish line. He's got the draft in front of Wout Poels, and at 50 meters to go, he pulls off hard right there. Wout Poels and starts his 100% sprint coming into the line. As they get into 25 meters to go, it looks like it's going to be close, and from the front view, it's hard to tell with a bike throw from Remco Evenepoel starting first. Wout Poels throws his bike second, but as we look at the aerial shot, Wout Poels wins today stage 20 over Remco Evenepoel to take a victory for Bahrain Victorious. Third on the stage, Peleo Sanchez from Burgos BH will get third, and then Lotto Destiny's Leonard will get fourth. Soler, whose legs blew a little bit as they were coming up the final bump here just before 175 meters to go, he'll get fifth to round out the stage. Now, what's happening to the GC guys behind? Before I get to them, let me tell you what happened to Remco Evenepoel just at about 400 meters to go. Well, I told you, he wiped his face, then he took his hand and he wiped his hip, then he looked back and Wout Poels threw an attack. Well, while Wout Poels was throwing an attack, look there at Remco Evenepoel. His head goes down and his hand comes off the bars. I gotta assume he's probably playing with his computer because that's always what he's doing, fidgeting a little bit. Takes his hands, puts it back on the bars, then takes his hands off again, just as we see Wout Poels on the left side there of Remco Evenepoel. As Remco Evenepoel's putting his hands back on, Wout Poels is flying by the Belgian rider going into this left turn, and that's why that gap going into the left was about 2 bike lengths into the left, but almost 4 bike lengths coming out of the left, and why Remco Evenepoel lost today's stage. He clearly had some decent legs for the sprint, not fantastic going up the last and final climb for sure, otherwise he would have dropped everyone and soloed into this stage. But it looked like he had more speed on Wout Poels coming in the finish for Bahrain Victorious, but I could be wrong because the interview from Geraint Thomas, who used to be teammates with Wout Poels, says that nobody was able to beat Wout Poels other than the pure sprinters when they were sprinting for the town sprint lines when they were teammates back on Team Sky. So that could explain why Wout Poels won today's stage. Or Remco Evenepoel, maybe you're fidgeting just a little bit too much at crucial times in the stages, either putting your sunglasses up on your head or taking your hands off the bars, messing with your computer with 400 meters to go at the finish of stage 20 of the Vuelta a España. I don't know if that was a great tactic, and it looks like that's what cost you the chance at the victory here on stage 20. Either way, Wout Poels is going to be happy that Remco Evenepoel likes to be fidgeting because Wout Poels is going to stand up on the podium and celebrate stage 20 victory. Now, what's happening with the GC favorites? Well behind, I told you, they crest the top of the KOM there. They got about 8 guys in this front group, and all of the GC favorites are there with the exception of Kian Uterbrooks, who had gotten dropped going over the back. Coming down the descent as they get into the flat section, we'll see Almeida, who got dropped earlier. He's coming bridging up to this front group, and he's going to go straight to the front and start pulling 100% because Kian Uterbrooks was higher than him on the general classification by 2 places, sitting 7th before this stage started, and now he's out the back somewhere. Well, up front, we see Almeida pulling hard all the way into about 1.5 kilometers to go. Then Santiago Buitrago will take over the front. As we come into the last roundabout before the final left turn, that right there, well, that's Cortinas, who was in the front breakaway of 30-plus riders here on today's stage 20, and he's leading out Moss coming into the final left turn here with 350 meters to go. Moss will hold on tight to the wheel there of Cortina as they come out of this left turn. But look at Jumbo Visma. The 3 riders there, Primoz Roglic, Jonas Vingegaard, and Sepp Kuss. They know they won the Vuelta a España as they start to celebrate before this left turn starts proper at about 400 meters to go. Up front, Ayuso across the line for the front group of GC guys, but in the back is the crest and the little top. That's a beautiful picture here and a beautiful team moment for Jumbo-Visma as they're 3 wide celebrating the victory here at 175 meters to go, with Sepp Kuss sitting in the middle going arm in arm with his 2 teammates on the right and left side of him as they cross the line to win this year's Vuelta a España for Jumbo-Visma to win 3 Grand Tours in 2023, with Primoz Roglic winning the Giro, Jonas Vingegaard winning the Tour de France, and Sepp Kuss is going to win this year's edition of the Vuelta a España. Now, guys, this was a legendary way to round out the season here for Jumbo-Visma with 3 Grand Tours and 3 riders riding 1, 2, and 3 in the general classification. Sepp Kuss, welcome to the list of Grand Tour winners here. You earned it 100%. This was a spectacular 3 weeks of racing here in Spain. He'll run into the arms of his wife right there. She'll whisper it in his ear something about, are you ready to do it again, or is this the last time you're doing it? And Sepp Kuss will be, that's it, never again. Just joking, I'm sure, because Sepp Kuss, you know he's going to try it again and be in a situation with his legs and his ability and his skills of riding so strong in the climbs and TT and pretty good. You know we could see Sepp Kuss get another Grand Tour victory because he's not even in his 30s yet. So congratulations, Sepp Kuss, again up here on the Butterfly Effect. A fantastic 3 weeks of racing, and I'm looking forward to the celebration after tomorrow's Madrid sprint victory here for one of the sprinters, I would assume. But we're going to see Sepp Kuss for sure up at the top spot of the podium of the Vuelta a España. Like and subscribe. I'll see you guys for tomorrow, stage 20 of the Tour of Spain.